Across the time streams and across the time zones for the first time in 2021. It's Type 40 Live this week. Yes, coming at you from out of the vortex. I've been talking out of my vortex for a few years already, haven't I? So they say. Good afternoon. How are we all? Cheers. Welcome back to Type 40 Live. Here, I'm Dan Hadley, your regular Type 40 pilot and Birmingham's king of the geeks. All round big mouth, really, I suppose. But yes, I've missed you. It's been a few weeks, I know, but we're back. New theme tune, new graphics, all the rest of it for a new year. New lockdown. Got to keep smiling, haven't you? And yeah, I can keep smiling, but I wonder if she can. Joining with us on this first show of the new year, of the new season. It's a starry-eyed girl, of course it is. Hello, Sarah. What are you doing? Texting?
I was talking in the chat.
I was going to say, you just texted, get this bloke off. What's he rambling on about?
No,
Hello.
No. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because...
Yes. I didn't expect it this early, guys. I didn't expect it this early.
No, because you're saying, like, yes. It's the first time we were back. Did you just forget about our show last week?
Oh, but we weren't live, though. We weren't
live. Okay,
we were live, broadcasting to the universe.
Did I imagine that?
Well, last time it was just us two having a good old moan, and let's face it, having a bit of a gloat about somebody, a Time Lord, who may be not long for the Hooniverse, who we may be seeing bursting into flames in the not too distant future. And that video did really, really well. That was just us two, really, wasn't it? Clamoring to the webcams and just blurting it all out. It's done really, really well. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, no doubt, as we connect with others, because there are other people here as well, too. But if this is your first time here at the Spacebook, this is the best channel that you never heard of. And we are Type 40. This is an entire strand of Doctor Who universe content all across the generations, all across the decades, across TV, print, audio, comics, you name it, all of Doctor Who with all of us. Cozy talk, I think, for a tea time. What they call drive time in radio, isn't it, Sarah? Drive time. But don't drive and watch us at the same time, because that would probably be quite silly. Yeah, but we like to have a bit of a laugh on these live streams. Yeah, sometimes we do a bit of moaning. I can't deny that. But generally, the Doctor Who universe is a very vibrant and rich place with something for everybody. The worlds of Doctor Who, from homegrown family favourite to international entertainment legend, as I'm fond of saying. And yes, but this particular one, Sarah, this is we've built this as Doctor Who Type 40 Live. Who are you? And I suspect that people are wondering, what on earth do we mean by that? Where's the conversation going to go? We're going to find out in a few moments as we bring in our friends and companions. But the first of which, I think it's only fair that we bring him in first, because it was sort of his idea. I say his idea. I'm going to blame him just in case it goes terribly, terribly wrong. Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek.
Why are you blaming me?
That's what they call a disclaimer, Ian, a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you guys? All right?
Oh, well, I'm locked down, but not down. Locked down, but not out. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, we're all locked down, mate. Tell you. Oh God! But the good news is that Jodie's going, so that's great news. So they say. Let's face it.
Bring out the brass section. Yes, and here with us, we want to know your views on that, obviously, but we're broadcasting live to YouTube and to the Type 40 Facebook group, so hit us with your comments and questions, of course, about all things Doctor Who. We want to know your thoughts too, and how your new year is going. What was the last bit of Doctor Who that you watched? All that sort of thing. There's lots of comments already. Christian Basil gloating here. I'm in Florida. What's a lockdown?
Very funny.
There's always one, isn't it? We've got Vanessa Law here. Hi, Vanessa. Good to see you. Oh, and she says your hair is lovely. That's nice to be appreciated, isn't it? And what else have we got? We have lots and lots of the usual suspects. Jodie McWilliams. Happy New Year, Jodie. We've missed you too. We
don't want you to go, Jodie.
Jodie.
And Charlotte Shields is here. We've got so many people. It's great to see you all. Well, the general principle of this, Ian, is something that you sprang onto Twitter a little while ago, isn't it? Who? Oh, it was you. Yeah, it was you. Now, a while ago, I filled in one of those multiple choice questionnaires over on, I think that was on Facebook, and it was, which Star Trek character are you?
Oh yeah.
And so it wasn't Doctor Who. But which Star Trek character are you? So I went through all these questions. Would you be more inclined to drink tea or coffee? It was really random questions, a good 20 or 30 of them. And I thought I was going to come out as that it would decide that my Star Trek character, for example, was Constable Odo from Deep Space Nine.
What?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be somebody in the background, pretty all that sort of thing. But in the end, this questionnaire told me that I was most suited to be Captain James T. Kirk, the ultimate.
You don't want to be James T. Kirk because you play under a rock. I mean, come on, let's face it. You don't want to be that.
This idea is very, very simple. It's come directly from the Mega Geek, from something you were asking on Twitter, isn't it? It's which incarnation of the Doctor do you see yourself as? Do I see myself as? Do you, Sarah? And do you, Ian? And do they? Because we've got two more people to bring into the console room. First of all, yes, every time we see him, he's dressed as another Doctor, but this time, this comes himself, Barnaby Jago.
He's let the slide down.
It's all very disappointing, I know. All very disappointing. I apologize.
Start as we mean to go on, everybody. Start as we mean to go on. Happy New Year, Barnaby. How are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Oh, fabulous.
We're doing okay, aren't we? We're keeping our spirits up. That's all you can do.
That's all any of us can do. And lastly, for the time being anyway, because we do expect there's going to be somebody else materialising later, but last but not least, who... I have to look at this guy and I'm laughing. I'll just bring him in. It's JT. Happy New Year, JT!
It really helped your freckles. Oh, hello!
Well, that's straight out of Bruce Forsyth's joke book, isn't it?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Space Bookers. Here we are again. New series 2. I am so excited. My nipples are like football studs.
Oh, dear.
I am so excited.
How on earth do we follow that? How on earth we can't follow that? So over to the chat. Let's see who's in there so far. We have Chris Persia, our friend from Canada. Let's show some love for Type 40. And smash that like button. Yes, please do. Or like the smash button, whichever is nearest.
That butt pum, which is available from certain sites now.
Who else have we got? We have we have people who are struggling with the tech a little bit. I think we've got tech help. And we have problem being. I never get asked on. Problem being. Bring him on. You heard Problem Being's wonderful new theme from Type 40 earlier on. Thanks again for that.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Incredible. Very, very, very talented man.
Let's get him on to talk about that lovely new theme, shall we? As well as other things.
And that could tie into something else a little bit later on. And we've got, I don't know what's going on here, pictures or it didn't happen, says Christian Basil. Whatever's going on there with the Polaroids, I think we best not.
Christian, they'll be on eBay a little bit later on for very, very inordinate prices.
Yes, that'll be the private chat. So yes, keep it cool. Here we are. What is this? Chris Persia, thanks for not letting me live my fast but poor typing down, JT. Oh, there we go.
I thought that was actually Chris. I thought that was intentional. I was thinking, what sort of product is that? Very good.
Oh.
Yeah, what a week, everybody! What a week to be a Doctor Who fan, isn't it? Isn't it fabulous?
Could that be the wind of change that's wafting?
It's not a wind of change. It's a great big fart of change coming through, isn't it? It's just amazing.
Is it actually confirmed now? Because I said I heard the BBC hadn't confirmed or denied. Yeah. Is it actually confirmed?
No,
not actually.
And that speaks volumes, doesn't it? For the BBC to not confirm or deny this particular piece of information, which has actually come from a newspaper that is usually on the button, as we all know.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. Well, no, the Doctor Who information has been great. I mean, in 2005, they were the first on the night to release the fact that Eccleston was quitting.
Yeah, they were.
Were they going back that far? I had no idea. I know they've got a great track record over the last 4 or 5 years, and particularly since this regime came in. I say to people quite regularly, they had the news that Bradley Walsh was going to be a companion nearly a full year before the BBC wheeled them out at the press launch. It was extraordinary. So who knows? But yes, that's the whisper. The rumour is that Jodie Whittaker has quit. That's a very tabloid word, isn't it, Barnaby? Quit. You never hear anybody in day-to-day life ever say the word quit. It's only ever in a tabloid newspaper. But
got the sack is the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas we all know you can't sack anybody now. You have to go through God knows how many tribunals and whatever else. But yes, Jodie Whittaker is departing the role of the 13th Doctor. And yes, there is a link over on the Type 40 page and all the social media where you can buy party poppers in bulk. If the more you order, the cheaper the postage and packing actually is. Yes, this was the news. So yeah, I mean, I spoke to you about it last week, didn't I, Sarah? But yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about it some more. But Ian, how do you feel about this generally? I mean, obviously, Jodie's only part of the problem, but a smiley mega geek?
Look, I feel a bit sorry for her, really, because she was chucked in the deep end and she wasn't given good material, and she wasn't very good at being a doctor either. So, I feel a bit sorry for her. But I am glad she's leaving. But we still have the two main problems that are there, which is Chibnall and the BBC. So if we can overcome them, then I'll be really happy,
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. Barnaby, an actor's life. Jobs come and jobs go. I mean, would this have been time anyway? And obviously, we're not going to get too controversial with this. But how did you feel when you heard this news? Were you surprised?
Not really, because I mean, it's always been sort of 3 seasons and a couple of specials or something like that, apart from Tennant. But so it was really something that was going to happen anyway, and agents sort of like recommend that, and you've had this run now, so it's probably time you left. But again, it's just like that. Nothing's really going to change unless the writing sort of changed, and annoyingly, the writing has been somewhat not as good as it has been.
Very generous of you, Barnaby.
So, thank you. And so, which does happen. I like to play devil's advocate sometimes. So unless the writing sort of like changes or something, it's not really going to make much of a difference. And I think Jodie did try. I think she certainly did try.
Oh God, yeah.
A bit more research maybe would have had to have been done, I think, on her part. I think maybe if she'd researched a bit more into the character.
A bit more.
Yeah. So again, you're only really as good as the director or the writer, really. So
yeah, it's true. That is true.
If you remember, a few weeks before, and I don't know I think we talked about this actually, JT, come to think of it, a few weeks before, there'd been these big rumors that Jodie's agent was trying to basically to airlift her out of the show, because this sinking show with sinking ratings and sinking popularity. Now, obviously, you think to yourself, well, that's big talk. How can something from behind closed doors like that get out into a public arena? But things do leak out, don't they? Particularly from unhappy workplaces. What are your instincts about all of this?
Who, me?
Yeah.
My instincts are numerous, as the space bookers will know. I mean, one thing is, as I said just there, I find it very, very interesting that this time around there is no official BBC announcement when there should be, and this is over a week later. And it's not come. It's not there. And we know they are back filming. We know they are doing 8 episodes. But what has happened through this whole week is that nobody, Chibnall, Wenger, Moore, Whittaker's agents, fandom, the press, everybody has seen how this news has been received. And the news has been received incredibly well. Now that's going to have an added effect on other people. Like if you are Jodie Whittaker's agent right now, and you are seeing the daily amounts of press that in the British press that this story is getting, you're going to think they hate my client. And to an extent, you're going to be right, because it's only a small amount of Doctor Who fans that don't at this point. And I think there is more to this story. And personally, what I am expecting to hear is that they're going to take it off the air.
I hope so.
It's only fair to say that there is a contingency of people out there who are happy with this era, who have enjoyed it all. And obviously, we feel for you. You could be about to lose your doctor or whatever else, and that's never nice. So none of this is ever said in mean spirits. But except it is a very interesting time, probably the most interesting time in a long time to be a Doctor Who fan. And it's a bit of a shame. I think it's a shame, Barnaby, that a lot of the time with Doctor Who over the last few years, the most interesting things about it have been the stuff that's been going on off screen.
Yeah, the behind the scenes kind of things.
Yeah,
I mean, I still can't forgive them for how they treated Bradley Walsh, because I love Bradley Walsh, and that in the final episode, Revolution, where he left, did he actually even do anything? He was just sort of in the background. And he just seemed so like. He just seemed like dead behind the eyes. He just wanted to go.
He's got a new show now.
Bradley, no, has he?
He's got several new shows. He's got all the stuff that ITV are throwing at him, which is 5 or 6 different formats. Then he's got the BBC courting him to carry on with the blankety blank nonsense.
Yep. And
another project on top of that, I hear, for the BBC. And he's one of the few artists at the moment that are able to balance both. Companies.
The Sky one where he travels with his son in a
huge hit. Huge hit for him on that. Huge hit. Huge hit. Well, for the time slot and for ITV at the time, I mean, but good for him, and he's obviously seen the writing was on the wall from the end of their first series, whenever that was. Now I can't really remember, but Jodie McWilliams is saying that she expected it to stay a little bit longer. I mean, I would imagine a lot of people did, but
he was the best thing about it, though. The episodes I saw, he was the best thing about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bradley's a very accomplished actor. I mean, he's done a lot in our television in our country. He did UK Law and Order.
He did,
UK, and he did Corrie for a long time as well.
My mum went to see The Chase live. They do 3 shows in a day. My mum and my sister told me after she saw it, she said she was so impressed by him. He was so professional. Even when they weren't doing a take, he was with the audience. He was making them laugh. He was, you know what I mean? And she had more respect for him after seeing him live.
Doesn't surprise me.
Well, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because, actors in this thing at the moment, because the show isn't doing well, it's not being received, it's been rejected by a lot of fans, and I don't care what fans say, because there's a hell of a lot of... This week's been an interesting week for fandom, and I hope we can come back to that, Dan, and talk about that, because it's been enlightening. But if you're an actor in that show... you may be thinking, gotta get out of those contracts.
I think that's definitely true. And I think that what you're talking about in fandom, there's people out there who, and I've always maintained this, the people out there that have claimed that they love this era of the show, but they don't actually like the show at all. It's more a signifier, some signal that they approve of the ideology behind it rather than the show itself. Because a lot of those people out there who said they were on board with this forever are very excited about the fact that she's going as well. And they can't hide that glee. You can tell it on social media. I'm interested in what Charlotte says here. Charlotte, she goes, I agree she's had some bad writing, but some of my favourite Doctor moments are non-verbal and purely the power of the actor. Ties into what we've said before. A great Doctor Who actor, Barnaby. They can get in tune, any material, lift even poor material, can't they? We've seen that right the way through Doctor Who.
Oh, completely. I mean, Bradley Walsh is the exemplar there, because even with the stuff he's got, he's still really, really watchable. And even with the writing and some of the worst ones, he is the best thing about it, just through his acting and just who he is. And that is so watchable.
I was saying to Dan a couple of days ago, I was watching this TV show. I don't know if it was out before, but I was watching Netflix, and it had Joe Martin in it. It's a show called Back to Life. And that's the star from the Lodger. The girlfriend of what's his name? So she's in it. She's the main star. But the one thing I realized after watching, because I watched the whole of the season, wasn't many, it was only like, I think 4 or 6 episodes. After watching that, I realized Joe Martin is completely and utterly wrong for the Doctor after watching it. So, that's the thing, you see. If they put Joe Martin up next, then I'm definitely still not going to watch.
I really don't believe there is going to be a next, and I keep thinking, a mate of mine said to me a while ago, well, what would you do then? He was being rather flippant. Well, what would you do with the show now? And I said,
what would you do?
where it stands right now, I would take it off the air after these 8 episodes, quietly change the production crew, get rid of Chibnall, get rid of Whittaker, get rid of everybody, bring a producer and script editor back into it that know the show and love the show. And I'd say to them, right, you've got 2-hour specials for November 2023. And if they are popular, with a popular Doctor, male lead, good characterization, good stories, and if those 2 episodes are popular, we'll go for a series in 2024, because they've put themselves into this whole virtue signaling tick box problem now that, I mean, talking about fans, one of the things I found interesting this week is that a small element of fandom who kept shouting at us over the last 3 weeks that we were any sort of bigot, phobe, whatever. Yeah. After this thing what happened last week, we're all coming back saying, "Oh no, they can't replace her with a man because that's going to take us back, and the cause is going to be there." And there you go. You have just actually said and proved to us that it was done for a politically correct choice. And so, and a lot of the fans, Dan, you're right, have come out and said, "Oh no, we can't have another man. We can't have another man. It's got to be another woman. We've got to keep this." And I just thought, "Oh, here we go." You know,
isn't Wanker saying that though? What's his name? Wanker? What's his name?
Is
he saying that?
I haven't.
Sorry, is it Wanker? No, what is it?
Wanker. Ian. Well, that's near enough. It's near enough. You know what you mean. Vanessa Law asked here, Simon's not here. I miss him already. We all miss Simon Horton. The good news is Simon may materialise later on. He's on a top secret mission for the Time Agency. So it depends if that vortex manipulator, I think it's jammed. So he could be somewhere around 1854 at the moment. But hopefully he'll sort of bounce around. Eventually he'll end up in here with us, and John Steed's here with a quote. I think we can all get behind this change and not a moment too soon. Nicely dropped. That's a mic drop moment, I think, there, Barnaby.
Oh, totally. I actually had an idea about what they should do if they did cancel it and just stop Doctor Who there. Give Paul maybe 3 specials, each like an hour long or something. Get people back into it again.
Yeah, Give Paul McGann his own, I like that. Well, lots of people, you can't. I don't think as a fandom we can leave the Paul McGann situation. We can't leave it rest for very much longer. We always go back to this. What about a series with McGann? What about some specials with McGann? I've been sent. I can't remember who sent me this, but I've got this little video. Check this out. This is a fan-made video of an imaginary title sequence that was dropped online, and the everybody sort of went from being sort of, I think this was over Christmas and New Year, from being a bit sort of oh god, another special coming up, and then you see this and you remember how good Doctor Who could be. Check it.
Did people actually thought that was from the BBC? Did people think that was from the BBC?
A couple of people did, yeah. But I was all for that until I saw the end caption saying "written by Maxine Alderton." Up until that point, I was completely on board. But just seeing McGann's face there, though, Barnaby.
Oh, so good. I got shivers kind of watching it. Yeah,
got the shivers, got the chills.
Oh, got the chills. I'm more of a fan of the David Arnold theme, and someone did a version of his theme, which was Chimes of Midnight, which is one of my favorite Paul McGann stories. And full on chills in that one.
I just love to see the classic logo again.
Yeah,
I miss that logo.
It's very nice, isn't it? Problem being here, says the Spacebook, just remind the Jodie fans that the show is always about change, like they've been gleefully telling us for the last 3 years. Well said. Well said. And yes, I have Paul McGann, full series. Do it from Daniel Leach. See, all these comments, every time it gets mentioned, lots of people just immediately go, oh, Paul McGann. I'd be so down for that. Yeah. And Sfila Betkin, the rabbi, our friend, the rabbi here, is probably gearing up for his own show a little later on. Don't miss that. The rabbi from another planet on Sfila Betkin's channel. It's good, the McGann fan titles, but needs more oomph. I don't know. It depends on the tone of the show that would go with it, doesn't it? But I know what you mean. It's a bit more
very dark.
And talking of more oomph, Vanessa, I can hear it now. I can hear the distant crackling from the vortex manipulator, which can mean only one thing. He's here. It's Captain Simon Horton. Welcome back.
Hey.
Hello, and a happy new year. You can stop talking about me now. Thank you very much.
Somebody give that man a comb.
It's lovely to be back with you again, folks. I'm so sorry I was late, but it's lovely to be back with you again. I'm sorry about that. I did get a little bit stuck in the vortex for a while there. I was stuck out in the nether regions of the.
Well, listen, Simon. Next time you're stuck out in the nether regions in the time vortex, if you're passing the 60s, grab us some Dalek toys, will you? Thank you.
I'll do my best.
You forgot to reverse the polarity. That's why you.
That's where I went wrong. I got my etheric beam locator confused.
You'd never get an etheric beam locator confused. Who are you kidding? You'd never do that.
That's the power of McGann. He just pulled Simon in.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it was.
We have a message here from Chris Persia. He says the show can officially start.
Yeah, just forget about the rest of us. Yeah,
I told you that they love you. I told you. Yeah, you're just in time because I can ask you, what are your thoughts on this new, well, I don't know what you call it, news now. It's been a couple of weeks, but on the new signing for Doctor Who, John Bishop.
God's sakes.
I wasn't asking you. I'm asking Simon. John Bishop, Simon. Do you like John Bishop? Do you like John Bishop? Do you see why they've got him into Doctor Who? What do you think?
No, and no. I'm sorry to be negative within 2 minutes of appearing. Cannot stand John Bishop. Think it's a huge mistake. It smacks of desperation in exactly the same way that Bonnie Langford's being cast in season 23 was admitted desperation to try and rescue ratings. So, they're sitting there thinking, what can we do? Put a name in. That's what we need to do. We need to put a name in. Bradley's going. We've got to bring somebody else in now to replace Bradley as a name. And why John Bishop would do this, because his star is on the ascendancy, why he'd do this and risk jeopardizing a career that's going very well seems really odd to me. He's literally jumping on ship at the point that everybody else is jumping off it.
JD wants a word. Go on, JD.
Simon, do you think it could be anything to do with the fact that this fits in very nicely to his tour at the end of the year?
Maybe.
Oh, do you know what, JT? I wasn't even aware he was touring.
Yeah,
he falls well below my radar.
You know what, guys? I know the reason why they did this. Chibnall's never been original, right? So he goes back and looks at the old Doctor Who's and he copies them. Now, do you remember the other comedian that joined the Doctor in the TARDIS?
Matt Lucas?
No, the other one.
Catherine Tate.
Catherine Tate, yes. Yeah. So she was just as big as, I guess, Bishop. So they're thinking, they did that in the past. Let's do that again. Maybe that'll bring in some viewers.
Do you know?
I don't have a problem. I mean, being brutally honest, as I say, for people that love John Bishop, brilliant. I'm sure they're pleased and they think it's good casting. I don't have a problem with it at all personally, but mainly that's because I'm not watching the show anymore, and so I don't have to be subjected to John Bishop. But really, is it going to drag me back to the show? 100%. No, not at all.
I must admit that on a couple of occasions, the guy's stand-up has made me laugh. I've never been a big fan of his. They try to jam him into every hole, whether it fits or not. That's not meant to sound as dirty as it does. Sorry, John. You know what I mean. But they do. He's done chat shows. He's done game shows. He's done those shows where they go on the roam around the country in a transit van.
Varieties.
All that stuff. Yeah, he's done stuff before the watershed, post watershed. You name it. This guy will seemingly try anything in the same way that I suppose you could say Bradley Walsh would try anything. But there's something that isn't quite sticking with him. I understand that he is a sellout comedian. He's no Peter Kay, but he's a standout comedian. I saw this picture and I see a craggy-faced man. It's a lived-in face. And I see something behind the eyes here. All I can see, Sarah, is this is going to regenerate that conversation. I wish he was playing the Doctor. Do you see what I mean?
You're right there, Dan. Because, you look at that photo and he immediately looks more doctorish than Blessed Jodie does.
Well, he's 55, Simon.
He was on Graham Norton's show with a couple of Americans, and the Americans couldn't understand a word he was saying. So he's going to have to really tone down his accent. For
I think this is why they're doing it, because if you've got John Bishop with his strong Liverpool accent and Jodie,
we're screwed.
Do you know what makes me laugh about this whole thing? Is Chibnall himself, because he used to, back in the day, really, really, really slag off JNT about stunt casting. And all he's done is stunt casting. He's a hypocrite. Chris, you are a hypocrite.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure he likes you too.
He's only got two. He's only got.
He's been a.
Let's just remind us also our fellow fans across Whodom. There have been two Liverpudlians in Doctor Who before the Doctor, Tom Baker and Paul McGann, and of course Liz Sladen was from Liverpool, so he might not play it with that. I know his character is allegedly from Liverpool, but I think he might play it a little bit different.
He's toned it down.
Yeah. Look to him. Take the money and run, kid.
Like I say, I genuinely don't have a problem with him going in the show at all. I see why they've done it. I get why they've done it. They need to do it. Let's be perfectly honest. They do need to do something. And so please don't misunderstand. I'm absolutely cool with it. I don't care that they cast him. But he's not my cup of tea. He wouldn't be my solution to the problems that the show sees itself in. But good luck to him.
They're obviously hoping, or Chibnall will obviously be hoping, that there's some of the Bishop fans, because he does have a fan base, like we are of this show. He does have a fan base, that they will come to the show
and JT
and push it up a bit more. But I can't see it actually.
And JT, interestingly, that was exactly identical reasoning that JNT used with season 23 when he cast Bonnie Langford. That was the exact reasoning. He knew that he had a fan base. And so
Bonnie Langford even then.
Hey, excuse me. I love Bonnie. I'm not having a I woke up drunk out of a drunken stage at about 4 o'clock in the morning dancing with Bonnie Langford in Earl's Court back in the day. She was a star.
She's a lovely person. She's a lovely person.
She was brilliant.
Bonnie went to my drama school, so I think she's amazing. Whatever she is.
Wow, come on. I didn't like that era anyway of Doctor Who, so I didn't like her.
I love Bonnie Langford. But when I see John Bishop joining this, all I see now, I could understand why he went with Bradley Walsh 2 or 3 years ago with so much that was untested. But if he was really confident about his vision for I'm not going to say his take on the Doctor. We know he hasn't actually got one. We're going to drop that pretense. But if he was confident in his vision of the show and the grasp that he has on the storytelling and how to clash characters together and to engage the audience, then he wouldn't be leaning into another character, because it's the Bradley Walsh hole that he's trying to fill. You can tell. So he's gone to grab somebody who is of a similar appeal and import his fan base. So it's like, oh, John Bishop, I like him. I'll watch him in Doctor Who then. And it'll be a short-term thing. And to be honest, it's only going to need to be short-term. These 8 episodes are the end. I think it's a very cynical move. I feel a little bit sorry for John Bishop that he's been snarled up in this. So I hope they're paying you well, John. And I think he'll only be around for those 8, and then it'll be bye-bye.
Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think he's in all 8 episodes anyway, you see, the way I read it.
Well, it depends on the production schedule, because he does. I mean, it's all up in the air because he does have his tour, but that could be put back depending on what's going on with the current situation as well. So it's all up there. Because I read in one article he's signed for the 8, then another he's signed for 4.
That's what I'd heard, JT. I'd heard 4 episodes. That's
so we don't. But to be honest, you and I, Simon, we don't care, do we, man? We're not going to watch it anyway.
That's why I say good luck.
I've never heard of John Bishop.
A lot of people. Nobody outside the UK is going to have heard of John Bishop.
Well, and that's the other reason an actor does this now. Because look what it did for Billy. Look what it did for Freema. Look what it did for Catherine. And also for
Yeah, but the difference, JT, but the difference then was the show was absolutely on a high, and anybody that went in it was going to do well. But now it literally is kind of a bit of a sinking ship. It just seems an odd decision on John Bishop's agent's part to recommend him for this.
But he wasn't doing anything. Let's face it.
He's locked down. But maybe that's the point. Maybe he is in the right tier he's in the same tier as the production company when he signed on for this. I don't know.
Well, it's all different for them because we know that the soaps of which Doctor Who is under a certain banner, but certain productions are out there right now as we speak filming.
Yeah, they are. She looked miserable. See that picture of her? She looked really miserable on the beach. She was like that.
Oh.
Like, I'm going.
Time will tell.
Well, we have that. There are whispers as well this week that the order has been cut. I mean, whether this could actually be in the wake of the latest lockdown, that now that 8 episodes has been quashed to 6. There's only going to be 6 episodes in this run. That's unconfirmed at the moment, but those are the present whispers.
Well, as I've said before, Dan, that would be 6 too many.
Let's just keep getting down to 1.
Yeah, no, well, not even that. Just cut it, get rid of them, reboot.
Happy campers. Let's so we'll be watching this as it unfolds. I think it'll be quite a while until we get certainly before we get a replacement's name. I think it will be quite a while until Chris Chibnall admits to anything at all. He's never going to admit to being anywhere near that iceberg, is he? That's the BBC. That's Chris Chibnall. But I think news will be very, very slow to arrive. It's a good job we've got other things to talk about and lots more fun to have. I think. Let's have a look in the chat and see what
happy things. We've got lots more happy things to talk about.
We have. Yes, Chris Post said Catherine was well known enough before her stint on Doctor Who.
Absolutely, and she was well loved as well. But that helped the show, Chris, didn't it? Because we saw an increase in slightly viewing figures as her fans came to see it as well. And
when she was cast, I thought it was a terrible idea. But then when I started watching the episodes, I thought she was brilliant.
People get silent, and
I totally agree. I was the same. I remember when she was cast, I said, that's it, I'm done with Doctor Who because I can't stand Catherine Tate. And seriously, I love Donna now. I really
same. It's similar story with me. Garbage has an idea here. Frankie Boyle? Get Frankie Boyle.
No.
And, fortunately, somebody in the chat snuffed that one out for us. He says, well,
Can you imagine?
There'll be a lot of people who won't even know who Bernard Manning is, so we'll leave it there.
You're better off. Trust us.
It's actually, I was saying this to a mate of mine the other day in a conversation. What society actually needs right now are your Joan Rivers, your Bernard Manning, your Alf Garnett. We need them, right? We are desperate in society for the off-the-wall characters right now because nobody's allowed to write about them, play about them, try and emulate them, quote them. It's bloody ridiculous.
Well, you are allowed to. You'll just get bombarded.
I'm not so sure if you're allowed. With police knocking on the door every 20 minutes, from what you can see on social media, saying, "Excuse me, have you got more than 3 people in there? Because we're coming in for a cuppa." Oh, please.
Garbage throwing Cliff Richard's hat in the ring here. Cliff Richard, who's just turned 8.
Why not?
Barnaby's in.
No, I'm up there.
Well, let's. Would Cliff Richard work for the BBC?
Wise for sound, mate. Wise for sound.
Probably.
I stand with Cliff on that one. Good for Cliff.
I think that's as good a time as any to lean into our feature presentation and our big question for the show. And I'm going to start with the bloke who started all of this, Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek. This was your question, wasn't it? Which Doctor do you see yourself as? Now, in the chat, if you've got any, let us know which Doctor you see yourselves as, if you're wondering what we're talking about. But Ian, this was your idea. You put this out onto Twitter, didn't you?
Yeah, personality-wise, right?
Who do you see yourself as? Which Doctor do you see yourself as?
I would love to be Matt Smith. I would love to see myself as Matt Smith, but I have to be honest. That was what I said in my Twitter thing. I said, be honest with yourself. And if I was to be honest, I would say I'm John Pertwee, which I do like John Pertwee, but I have the same temperament.
Why are you John Pertwee then?
Because John Pertwee he looks at things straight, and basically he doesn't take any nonsense. And even though I joke on these things, when people meet me in real life, they find I'm a very different person, more like John Pertwee than anything else. But yeah, I mean, definitely John Pertwee, definitely.
Because because he was obviously the establishment figure from the outside looking in, but really he was a bit of a rebel and was trying to sort of.
Yeah.
Is that how you see yourself in the film industry, maybe?
More or less. It's like what is it? I remember there was a similar story. Yeah, what character would you see yourself in Star Trek? And unfortunately, I remember me and my friends was talking about. Unfortunately, they all said that I was Kirk, and I didn't want to be Kirk because Kirk died under a rock, right? And he was, I mean, let's face it, he didn't have the best of endings. Do you know what I mean? But as I said, I'd love to be Matt Smith because Matt Smith is playful and he's very, he's a great Doctor. But unfortunately, I end up being John Pertwee.
John Pertwee.
Yeah. No, I know there isn't. I know that, but I still would want to be Matt Smith.
We'll think of you as Matt Smith, Ian.
Exactly.
You need to get a bow tie. That's what we want to see.
Very, very distinguished. Vanessa says, I'm 11 all the way. Maybe that's why he's my favourite. She's very
tall for your age.
Yeah. It's interesting to see what he thinks he is and what. Oh, hello. What she?
And John Steed is with you. I'm a Pertwee, as I'm his age now. When playing the Doctor years ago, I'd have said Davison.
Yeah.
That's funny, isn't it? Because I think obviously because we age in a way that the Doctor doesn't, don't we, Barnaby? These Doctors are around. We see fractions of their. we see snapshots of what they do and what they get up to. They're always pretty much wearing the same clothes in a lot of cases. But you're a man who has a love of cosplay. You've cosplayed several Doctors. But what I was wondering was the same question. In your heart of hearts, which Doctor do you see yourself as out of the 12 that we've had so far?
Oh, you just confused him now.
I always wanted. It's such a hard question. I always thought I saw myself as a Peter Davison, as that kind of Doctor, very sort of like prim and proper and sort of like kind of quite caring, and also having those sort of upper class kind of mannerisms that are quite sort of a bit outdated but quite sort of cute to sort of see. But I think maybe sort of under pressure, I think I'm a bit of a Patrick Troughton.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
It goes down to your leader will be angry if you kill me. I'm a genius.
So when flustered, you mean?
Yeah, when flustered, you're like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That kind of thing.
So I'm intrigued now. So when you're at home, you're kind of making a cup of tea. Are you kind of just all over the shop and
I can be a little bit clumsy. Yeah.
Okay. He does play the old
recorder.
Yeah. The recorder.
Keep it clean.
Wait a minute.
If I had to guess, I knew you were going to say that. I was saying in my head, I bet it's Troughton. Yeah. And he said Troughton.
Yeah, it's definitely Troughton. I think if I'm being honest, I'm a Troughton.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not surprised that the Davison thing cropped up again there. I'd like to see myself, because Peter Davison is still very, very much my Doctor. Simon, you know that. Hence, I'm wearing his logo here. He's very much my Doctor, and I'd love to be that fast on my feet. Well, I am actually. I'm probably faster than Peter Davison, come to think of it, particularly now. But I probably am that fast. But he's very quick thinking as well. And adventurous and noble, all these other things. But I'm not sure. I don't think I am a Peter Davison. I think that's just me latching on to my actual Doctor. Sarah, how about you? Which of the Doctors?
Whoa! You can't stop and not say who you are.
I'm dotting my information throughout. I'll come back to mine later. Sarah, how about you? Which of the 12 that counts do you think you are?
I think I'm an amalgamation of a couple.
No, you can't say that. You've got to say one.
You've got to. No, go on then. Carry on.
Well, there's. My first thought was Christopher Eccleston, because obviously he's a Northern Doctor, and there's certain mannerisms that he does, and there's certain things that he says. Like, in Aliens of London, when he says, "Do you mind not farting while I'm saving the world?" That is something that I would do.
Good line. Good line.
I'm not as grim, as he is.
You smile too much to be the Chris Eccleston.
Yeah, I smile too much. A little bit of Patrick Troughton with the clumsiness and the, disarming, pretending that you're silly. And really, you're taking everything in. And a little bit of Pertwee as well with the kind of
the rule story. It's got to be one doctor.
Look, you're winding Ian up. Will you stop it? She's always winding him up. Always. You should see them off screen. She's why.
But in your heart of hearts, when you look at yourself in the mirror, which or if you were to ask other people, if you were to ask the people in your life, your family, which one would they say you were most like?
Oh, they'll probably say Jodie Whittaker.
No.
What an insult!
We can only say her name one more time before she's going to appear. So nobody say it. Nobody say it.
Probably.
Get yourself a new family. Have them adopted, Sarah.
Is it?
Yeah, you need a new fam.
We have a few comments in the chat here. This is an interesting one from Problem B. He says, I would hope to be Tom Baker, oddball and intimidating, yet probably more like Colin Baker, tasteless. That's exactly the sort of thing. And you know what? I think that a lot of us, I think because Tom Baker is the quintessential Doctor, he is heroic and yet bumbling at the same time. He is totally alien and yet somehow weirdly reassuring at the same time. He's very much the model of the Doctor. And there's the thing, I mean, can any of us really? Most of us own scarves. I think that probably says a huge amount. I think he's the Doctor nailing that alienness, particularly when you feel, as I do sometimes, as I suspect we all do, that we're slightly at odds with the world and that only we can see it. I think that's the Tom Baker in all of us. But in truth, I think that probably only Tom Baker is like Tom Baker. So, Simon, what do you think about all this? Which Doctor do you think?
Storia hasn't answered the question. She hasn't answered the question. She hasn't answered the question. I'm going.
Who's the smiliest Doctor?
I thought you
Which
had.
Doctor? Which Doctor? Come on, Starry.
Tom's definitely the smiliest. Yeah.
Tom.
Tom.
Oh, thank God. I love Tom.
Happy New Year.
I'm happy.
I smile and I smile a lot. So
I'd love to think I'm Tom Baker, but I know I'm not Tom Baker for all the reasons you said, Dan. Wouldn't we all love to be Tom Baker? But no, I'm definitely not Tom Baker. There's a bit of John Pertwee in me because I like the Third Doctor. I rail against any authority. I'm just very anti-establishment, very anti-authority. Bring it all down. So I'm very much John Pertwee like that. But I think in truth, I wonder whether I'm closest to kind of Peter Davison, to the Fifth Doctor. I kind of probably, if I had to choose one, I think I'd probably say I'm Peter Davison because I'm just slightly sort of dazed and confused, and I sort of,
I can see that.
Thank you. And I sort of bumble along a little bit, and I'm polite and probably where I maybe shouldn't be, and I don't know. So I think I'm probably Peter Davison, but I think actually I've got a little bit of David Tennant in me as well. I think I've got a bit of 10th Doctor manicness in me as well because I'm a bit all over the shop. So I think I'm amalgamation, in all honesty, of three of them. And don't worry, Ian, I'm picking one. I think I'm a bit third, I'm a bit fifth, and a bit 10th. But I think, in all fairness, right down the middle, I'm probably Fifth Doctor.
I can see that. I can definitely see that, mate.
That passed the Mega Geek. What would you say? The Mega Geek's qualification there. Is that a reasonable answer?
That is a reasonable answer. Unlike Starry's.
We have here Jodie McWilliams says, I'm probably 12, grumpy, confused, and stubborn. I will punch through that wall.
Yes.
That sounds very, don't mess with Jodie. We've got garbage. I want to be 11, but I am not. So sad.
Everyone's to be 11, but they're not.
And John Steed says, another 5 years and I will be a Capaldi or a Hartnell. And 10 after that War Doctor until I end up the old Baker from the 50th. So he's going to age through the regeneration cycle. That's a good idea. That's not a bad idea at all. It's the Burkholder says Tom Baker is goofy and fun, and we can say the weirdness of the say is norm. We can see the weirdness, others say is normal. Yes, I agree. I think that way. I mean, you could say that about all the Doctors, but I think Tom Baker communicated that. Yeah, probably the best. Christian Basil's here. He's judged you to be Sarah, the second Doctor.
Troughton. Oh, no, he's not the second Doctor anymore, is he? No.
Oh, no.
Don't
Let's
bring that
not go
up.
down that. Yes, he is, viewers. That's the end of it. Sort of it. Deal with it.
Derek McManus says, my friend Paul drank in the same pub as Tom Baker. Hi, Derek.
Show
I
off.
think most people drank it. If you were in Soho in the 70s, you were bound to see Tom, weren't you? You know, it's really weird that when in the 90s, when I got to live in London and I was going around Soho having a laugh, Soho who used to be a laugh in those days, you could go into a pub thinking, Tom was in here. Brilliant days.
You know who I used to see when I used to go to the pub around about that time? David Soul. David Soul was always in every pub that I went in. He was like Hutch was
He was
there.
stalking you in. He was stalking you.
After a bag of nuts, we've got Richard Ashton's here. 10. I was his body double in filming. Were you, Richard?
More information, Richard. More information needed.
Can I just say as well to Richard, hello, Richard. You guys have seen my K9. Richard.
Ooh, is that a euphemism for something?
My full-size K9.
Yes,
Richard
yes.
Ashton
Oh,
is the gentleman that regenerated him. So I'd like to say a big hi to Richard. How are you doing, mate?
Hello,
Richard, amazing job on JT.
An amazing model maker and props maker.
And a massive fan as well, it
Was
seems.
he
Good
really
man.
10's body double?
Good to know, props maker.
So JT, is this true? Was
Yes.
Richard 10's body double?
He was indeed, because like David, he's very lanky.
I'm sure he'll be delighted to hear that.
Oh, he is. He's like a streak of piss. Aren't you, Richard? Yeah, he's great. And he had that zany hair and the costume. And yes, and has done an awful lot of work for various charity events as well. In time as the 10th Doctor. Yeah, very good.
And obviously another K9 fan, as are we all. We've got God, look at this. This is actually Darren Bradley, but for the purposes of this chat, no, it isn't. There he is. It's Darren Bradley. He says, Cobra Kai front bottom wedgie. What fragrance do you think each Doctor would smell of? You've just come up with an idea for an entire other live stream. Nobody else. Rabbi, you're not having that one. I'm thinking definitely. Thank you. Good to see you, Darren.
Brute.
Great to see you. As always.
Brute, yeah.
Brute. Very 70s, very 80s. Brute. That run through half of them.
High karate. Who remembers high karate?
Yeah, and a friend of yours, Barnaby, says,
there she is.
saw Tom Baker in Soho too. This is a pattern, isn't it? There's probably a map somewhere, like in Unit HQ, with various places that Tom has drank in.
I'll tell you,
Olivia, between them all.
I'll tell you a story, Olivia, as well. Again, back in the 90s when I was living down in London, on the Strand there used to be, I don't know if it's still there, one of you might know, but the Stamp Centre to have a shop on the Strand, and of course
Not
back in
the
days before the show came, is it not? Oh, bless them. But they used to do all these shoot off Doctor Who merchandise stamps.
Yeah, lots.
Yeah, and it was quite nice. We shop in there as well. They had a lot of stuff.
Fantastic.
And it was quite good. And I was standing outside one day, just looking at the merchandise, thinking, "Oh God, how much I'm going to spend when I walk in." And then, you know, when somebody comes up aside you, and you know they are there, and I looked, and it was a certain gentleman, and he said, "Ooh, I haven't been paid for that." And then he walked away, and it was Mr. Baker, and I was like, "Brilliant stuff." I haven't been paid.
That's a terrific story.
Yeah.
We've got Christian Bowes. If you drank at a pub, you drank with Mr. Tom Baker. We're getting lots of. I get the impression he's done the same thing all over the world. And I think John
From the story, I wouldn't have had the courage to drink with Tom. I mean, from the stories, you know, I mean, he was out there with all these great names in British acting royalty of the day, from Olivia upwards. I wouldn't. Could you imagine? God, you'd be on the floor within 20 minutes, wouldn't you?
Problem being, says when I met Tom, he was blasted and shouted at me.
We need more information again. Problem being, more information required there.
Sorry to hear that, buddy. Sorry to hear that. Oh God, yeah.
He's got a new book coming out later this year. He's redone his "Who on Earth is Tom Baker?" He's redone the book, hasn't he? So hopefully that's coming out at the end of this year. Yeah.
Is it a redo? Sorry, Barnaby.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, you go. Oh no, I was going to ask. Has anyone read Scratchman?
Yes, it's great. I have to say I like it. I like it because I look at it as if this would have been a great British film back in the day. I would have loved to see the Cybermen and the Scarecrows on the screen with Liz Sladen and Ian and and Tom up there. I actually quite enjoy the book. I think it's a nice book.
Okay, because I've ordered it. Yeah, I'm going to read it.
Who's co-written that with Tom Barnaby? I can't remember.
James, wasn't it? James, yeah.
James Goss.
James Goss. I was going to say. I know that he works with somebody on it. Yeah, I've never read even a review of it because I did always intend on getting it. So yeah, come back. Let us know exactly where that lies, how you enjoy it. Yeah.
No, definitely will.
All those new hardback books.
I have it. I've got it upstairs. It's another one that I just never quite got around to reading.
Simon, listen, have a look at it. I would advise anyone have a good look at it. If you've got the audio book that Tom reads out as well, listen to it. However you want to do it, and then just put yourself back in 1970s Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. And my God, Star Wars!
They finished it all.
It really did.
Got to a lot to answer for. Imagine it did take them a few years to put the.
Well, that's the British industry for you, because unlike America, we don't have the finance here to make TV or films as much as and as quickly as they do in the States, because our industry is in the toilet.
Always was.
It was right from the 60s, really, wasn't it?
It was.
That's where it started to go down.
Don't do it, because you know what it'll say next. Stop mentioning budget.
Right. Yes, you're right, Sarah. I will say nothing at the moment.
Go on then, JT. So, which of these many doctors that have come and gone throughout your life?
Can we guess before he says his? Can we all guess? We'd like to guess.
Colin.
I think that could be.
I don't mind Colin.
You reckon he's a Colin?
Yeah. Go on, ask me the question.
Which doctor do you see yourself as?
Davros.
I can see that. I can see that.
When Dan told me about this the other day and said this idea, I thought, all right, okay, yeah. And then I went to think about it, and I thought, do you know, it's interesting because I've never ever related to the Doctor.
No.
From when I was little onwards, this was an alien. And I've never seen myself in any of them. So I had to force myself over sleepless nights to think about this question, Ian.
It's me blaming me.
I've had sleepless, and I would actually say, oh God, I would like to think I'm McGann, but I'm probably more Capaldi.
I was going to say,
especially as I get older, I get a bit more. I don't give a toss.
I was going to say Peter. I was definitely going to say Peter for you. Definitely.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, I can see you as Peter, definitely.
I don't think Peter could see me as Peter because he's still working.
Well, listen, if you just hit the wall loads of times until you break through it. It'll take you a long time, but just keep hitting it. Yeah. You'll be fine.
So it's an interesting question, isn't it? Interesting topic, but
I think you have a steeliness that I can see why people would say this with the Peter Capaldi thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you're doing it now and you don't even know it.
I can see you. I can see you as Hartnell as well.
Well, I was Sarah. Interesting because I was actually thinking more. I'm thinking more along the line of McCoy at one point, because McCoy had that sort of fun element, but could be a real sort of hardliner. Myself, I can do that as well because I do like a laugh, but don't piss me off.
But next one we've got to do.
Maybe you're a Chris. Christopher Eccleston.
Well, I do look good in leather, but that's another stream.
Next one we've got to do is what kind of companion we all are. Harry. Definitely Harry.
Yeah, you're Harry.
We've had
no doctor, I'm the doctor.
Yes, it's wonderful. We've had several people suggest that in the chat, so thank you all for all your input and your investment. Yes, we will probably be talking about the companions later, because the truth is, what JT's just said, Russell T Davies has said this a few times, that he felt exactly the same way as you, JT, and he could never relate to the Doctor in that way. He always put himself in the place of the companion and always wanted to be a companion, always imagined that he would be walking in the streets around where he lived, turn the corner, see the TARDIS and be whisked away. Now, when I first heard Russell, he explains his take on the show. And when I first heard Russell say that, I was really surprised because I thought everybody was like me and wanted to be the Doctor. But it really isn't the case. And I'd love to know if anybody in the chat, wonder what the divide is, the percentage between doctors and companions there.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, I think that is more where I came from, because even as a little boy, I identified more with Sarah, Harry, Leela, K9, Romana.
I agree, JT. I'm with you. I definitely identify with companions far more. I never saw myself as a doctor, any of them.
I've always wanted to be that person that comes in saying, "Where are we, Doctor?"
I literally used to, when I was a kid, I literally used to believe in my heart of hearts that at some point the TARDIS would materialize in the corner of my bedroom and I would go in and be a companion. I genuinely believed that as a kid. I was just waiting for it to happen. I'm still waiting for it to happen. I'm still waiting.
Was it Tom that you were going to go away with?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely Tom. Definitely Tom.
That's
no doubt it would happen. I was just waiting for the
start.
That's the sort of feeling.
Oh, sorry, you go, Jason.
No, go ahead, Barnaby.
No, just imagine, Simon, the door opens and out pops out Colin. Coming out to strangle you. It's like, you're a spy. Come to spy on me.
Me!
No, I don't want to go traveling with you. No.
I'd have still gone, Barnaby. I'd have still gone.
It's that sort of feeling. It's that sort of feeling as a kid that I always associate as well from not just the series and what you've just said there, Si, but also when I went into the exhibitions, especially Blackpool, and you went down the stairs and you had that feeling of you are now a companion. It was for myself. It was never I am the Doctor trying to grasp the TARDIS controls. I am the companion, and is he in here? It's magical times, isn't it? An interesting discussion.
I'm completely opposite to you guys because the first Doctor I ever saw was John Pertwee, and I always imagined myself as the Doctor, as John Pertwee, the Doctor when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, you've got a bigger ego than all of us, haven't you?
Thanks, Jodie.
No, Ian, I was exactly the same. I always felt connected to the Doctors more than companions.
I rest my case, actor.
Come on,
darling.
It's all about me, darling. It all revolves around me. Thank you.
Colin Smith in the chat. He says, "I spent my teenage years waiting to break out into a tomorrow person."
Can I please say, Colin? I totally agree with that. I was just about to say, I thought nobody remembered the Tomorrow People, but when I wasn't waiting for the TARDIS to materialise in the corner of the bedroom, I genuinely expected my jaunting belts to arrive through the post any day, because I would have broken out and they would have welcomed me in. I genuinely was a Tomorrow person, no doubt whatsoever.
I love Tim in Tomorrow People.
Really do you remember that theme tune?
Yes,
that was the Doctor Who theme tune for me was always the pinnacle. But
not Ron Grainer. Sorry, not Ron Grainer. Dudley Simpson. No, was it Dudley? It was Dudley. Or was it Ron?
You guys don't remember the Tomorrow People?
Ron composed it. Yeah, I do.
Ron composed it.
Yeah. I'm sure he did.
Eastland Burkholder is here in the chat. She says, "I never really felt like the Doctor. That is what's wrong with the modern series. I loved when the Doctor refused to admit being lost. Well, no, actually, and so where are we?" There is a bit of a divide between new series and classic Doctors. A
bit. It's a chasm.
I think
don't go there.
Some of it is the necessities of the format, being the stories being more compact and everything. But all this talk about the Doctor and the companion, I've always wanted to see myself in the Doctor and imagine which kind of Doctor I would be. And whilst I won't say I'm surprised that other people feel differently, I think it's telling, and I think it could be. I think it could be because of Tom's character as well. I think if you were at a particularly formative point in your life when Tom was the Doctor, because he was so commanding and so hypnotic, I think I may have been the same had I been that little bit younger. I think because when I really latched onto it was when Peter Davison was playing it, and he was again more the sort of the kind of the scout leader again. Yeah, and rather than somebody who was really patrician and totally detached.
It's very difficult to tell people who weren't there what it was like to be a kid in Britain in the 70s. Because it was a oh God, I don't know what to say. It was a certain time. Your television was right up there. We only had 3 channels, and it was quality entertainment, and television was still in its infancy in the 70s. You still had actors who had trained for the theatre coming into television. No bugger knew how television really worked. I mean, Peter Davison, to his credit, is one of the first actors of the TV generation. Now, he knew television like that.
Yeah, he did.
Natural for him. And he must have struggled going into the likes of a BBC Three World set, and all this sort of stuff. And because the BBC was always theatre transferred exactly the same screen, same setup, same rehearsal block, same sets. So it must have been difficult for somebody like Davison's generation to come in. And because he's a very clever actor as well, and a very formative modern actor. But in the 70s, everything was going on, wasn't it, guys? It was just so brilliant and different. And Doctor Who was up there. Everybody watched Doctor Who, whether you wanted to admit it or not. But Tom was at the height of stars. He was a major celebrity. Everybody knew the hat, the scarf, the dog, the police box, the theme tune, the diamond logo was everywhere.
And it was the mark. It's all stamped so firmly down on the show, and I think it took until and this is nothing against what anybody else did in between, but I think it took until David Tennant's Doctor to not shake that off. I don't think it ever shook that off. The 50th anniversary logo with the scarf proves that it never shook it off. But to equal that, and which brings me to my choice. I would like to see myself as the David Tennant Doctor, I think, and I think it's for some of the. I think it's because he moves so quickly. I'm going to come round to the hair in a minute. Because he moves so quickly, and I can be, as people know, I ramble quite a lot. I can be very manic. I can go off on tangents, and I talk with my hands a lot, all that sort of thing. And I am inclined to sometimes get a little introspective and maybe even apologise when I don't need to. So there is that. But yes, there is, of course, the hair. This hair. Now, although it is a lot tamer than it used to be, and it's a little bit thinner than it used to be. So back in the mid-noughties, I had that hair, the David Tennant hair, about 18 months before Tennant had that hair.
I knew he was going to say this. I knew it.
And I think that Tennant actually got that from me.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
That was coming.
Definitely.
I mean, in Casanova, he was very sort of smooth down, wasn't he? Yeah, of course he did that.
Yeah. And he took that through his first few episodes of the Doctor. Of course, he used to comb it behind his ears, didn't he, and everything? And then gradually throughout series 2, he started to sort of.
But he was getting up later, wasn't he, to get to the shoot? He was getting up at 9:30, and he just had to get there.
But yes, and in reality, I think there probably is something of the Tennant in me. I think because obviously he is only a little older than me. He has a lot the same taste as I do in the show. But the truth of the matter is, I'm probably off kilter there, and I think I'm probably more like. Well, actually, you tell me who you think I'm more like. You like? Go on, Sarah. Who do you think I'm more like?
Well, Peter Davison.
I was going to say Capaldi then. Okay. Why Peter Davison?
You stumped.
Sarah, this is live,
We'll edit it out.
Because you've got that mild-manneredness, but you've got your limit as well. There's only so far you can be pushed.
I like it.
Did you push him?
Putting people on the spot.
I would, yeah.
Ian, go on. Which one do you see me as?
Peter Davison, definitely.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I see you as Peter Davison is because you have this nice, easygoing way about you. But as Starry-Eyed said, if you push slightly,
I'm starting to wonder what sides I've been shown to myself.
No. I've seen you a bit pissed off, or I've heard you a bit pissed off from time to time and stuff like that. So and Peter Davison's character is kind of like that, really. He doesn't really get angry. Let's face it, Peter Davison's Doctor, does he? He kind of gets irate a bit, you know what I mean? He gets vexed.
Vexed, I love it. So, would you hold with that as well, Simon? You know me pretty well.
No, I can't. You're definitely a Jodie Whittaker.
Brace yourself, everybody. That's 3 times. Brace yourself. It's only a matter of time.
I think I see you a bit as a Peter Capaldi, actually. I think Capaldi. I don't know why. I can't quite explain why, but I see you as quite serious and quite quite intense, but not in a scary way.
Well, that's why this is why I sort of ruled myself out of the Peter Davison bracket, and I think that somebody who is a bit more intense and more introspective is the Eighth Doctor. I think I'm probably more. I think he's got a lot of those qualities that you guys said about 5. 8 has got 2, but he's got the qualities that you were talking about as well, Simon. I think that I probably would. Yeah, I do name drop from now and again. And that's what
I was going to say, Dan. I was going to say you're more of a number 8, I think, than a number 5. Just because.
What makes you say that then? It's not for me to say. Why would you say that?
Very sort of like a bit. I think it's just the voice as well, and the way you can kind of like, maybe it's just when you're doing the show, your voice is quite sort of commanding in that sort of bit where Paul goes, "I am the Doctor." That kind of like a particular emphasis on words. I think you sort of have either that or you're Peter Cushing. So.
Yeah. Yes, I made sure. Oh, Simon wants to change his vote. Simon wants to. How about you, JT? How about you? Which Doctor do you see me as? Go on.
Oh, well, I'd actually like to change the subject.
I included.
I mean, I do equate you an awful lot to a lovely My Little Pony. That's good, you know.
I'll have that. What I was going to say next,
or something.
Because we're Doctor Who's, because we're all doctors in our own way, maybe, and we've all got out like JT's lair, for example, where he's talking to us from now, and we've all got our various places, even if it's just a desktop on your computer. We've all got our own little TARDIS consoles or whatever. But I was looking at these pictures recently, and these were put up online by the parents of Luke Tucker. This is Mandy and Phil Tucker. And I was thinking, we talked a lot about childhood as we've been reflecting on this, particularly you, Ian. And you think back to when you were a kid, and you would imagine either the TARDIS materializing to take you away, and the Doctor sort of beckoning, and all of time and space opening up, or you coming across the TARDIS abandoned, and you're the only person that can take it back to Gallifrey or whatever. This young boy, I think he's about 10 years old. I went to make a note of that. Yes, his parents have done they've given him his own TARDIS. They've turned his bedroom, his sanctuary, into a TARDIS like that. So he can go on adventures whenever he likes. You can see the interior.
Whenever he sleeps, he's off on adventures.
Oh, God, I just love the roundel, the wallpaper.
Yeah.
They've done the right roundels here. The proper
Exactly, they've got the proper TARDIS.
You can buy the wallpaper. I keep meaning to buy it and do this route my office out in the wallpaper.
Is it still available?
Amazing. Yeah, it's still available, or at least it was until a month or so ago. Yeah, it's still out there.
It's probably available with Jodie on it now. Probably.
Oh, stop it! You mentioned it, yeah. And out of interest, I don't know whether you realise this, Dan, but his parents did this on Christmas Eve, ready for him to arrive on Christmas Day. They sent him off somewhere out of the house or something or other, and he came back, and his dad had been building all this in secret. They sent him out of the house doing Christmas shopping or something. He came back, and it was there. It was built, ready for him to see. So he didn't know any of this was on the way.
Wow.
That was his Christmas present.
Wow. And then he saw the New Year's Day one, and then he took a hammer to it, didn't
he? Don't piss on a young boy's chips. For all we know, he had the most marvellous Christmas. I just admire the craftsmanship involved.
Yes, great.
Incredible.
Have you noticed it's even got its own little key there? That's going to be really useful later on.
Inside, he's got all the things you'd expect to have: the bed, his computer, all those childhood things.
And is that a Rosie? Is that a Rosie clone I see there as well?
So.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But if they punish him and say go to his room, that's not much of a punishment, really. Off into time and space. Digby Strawbridge says, "What lovely people." I think he's talking about the parents rather than us, although we love it too. I think so.
Okay, then. Right.
Jodie McWilliams, I would have loved this room.
Jodie.
You see, in our day, again back in the 70s, you just got bits of coloured paper and put them on your bedroom door.
Problem being, wants that wallpaper. It's a regular, yes, everybody wants that wallpaper. Megan Eurobite wants that wallpaper too.
80s roundels are the best roundels.
Lord Thoth.
They certainly are.
I would have to agree. Lord Thoth's here. Hello, Lord Thoth. Good to see you. Like, share, and subscribe. He remembers the stuff that I don't. Yeah, if you've been here this long, if you're loving having us back, please like the video. Take that time to hit that like button. And yes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because there's going to be more of this stuff, and you're not going to want to miss any more of this scintillating conversation and absolute ridiculousness going forward into 2021, are you? Let's face it. Oh, yes, who else is here? Oh, we've got Colin P. Smith. No, I don't know what that's about. It's several comments. We've got lots of conversations going on in between conversations, which is exactly how you want it to be in a lively chat. The bedroom only works up to the age of 13. Then you can rebuild it again when you're in your 40s. Otherwise, finding a partner.
Garbage has got a point.
Yeah.
Garbage could speak from experience there. Who knows? Yes, we have. We're glad that so many of you have here to welcome us back into 2021. The Type 40 Live. We're going to be coming at you. The plan is for, mostly Tuesdays going forward, another series of chats. Some of them will be like this. We'll have a specific hook. Others will be big rambles. Sometimes we're going to do a lot of moaning. We are.
Yes. So you've been warned, Space Bookers.
Yeah. Happy New Year, but going forward, we want you to let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about. So if you'd like to hear who our companions of choice are, who do we see ourselves as, or which companions do we like the best? We can lean into that too. Lots going on and plenty of scope for lots of conversation. The Doctor Who universe is far and it is wide. But of course, a lot of this, we are here to talk as well, to support and to tell you about all the other things we've got going on this channel and on the network, I suppose you could call it. Where are we? Let's talk about this for a moment, Simon, because we're about to drop a new episode of Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast. It's a podcast on the Fandom Podcast Network, and we've got 71 episodes already up, including these with our beautiful new logo for you to go and find. You can stream them on the Fandom Podcast Network's master feed, or we have our own feed now, type40.podbean.com. We're over there. And yes, all those people who are asking, when are they coming to the Spacebook channel? We're also loading them up, onto this channel too. And there's a brand new one dropping in just a couple of days, Simon, where we talk to one of our heroes, don't we?
Who could it be?
Chris Achilleos. Yes, at last you're going to hear our talk with Chris Achilleos. Another deep dive onto Target books.
Oh, that's beautiful mug, Simon.
This is my Christmas present. This is my Christmas present from my lovely partner. This is my Christmas present. Yeah. We got there eventually.
Absolutely beautiful. And talking of Target books, these have been revealed today, everybody. Because Target the imprint does live on, doesn't it? And sort of now and again, they put out a set of new books, and these are the new covers to some that are being released on the 11th of March of this year. So we have these covers here from the Pirate Planet Resurrection and Revelation, of the Daleks. I don't know if they're by any artist in particular, but they are all leaning into that Chris Achilleos style, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're not Chris Achilleos. Why not?
Yeah, Barnaby's sort of grinning his teeth as well. Do these work for you, Barnaby, or would you rather they do something different?
Oh, I just love that kind of design anyway for the Target books. But yeah, Chris Achilleos did some much more.
Mary Tam.
I love Eric Stoward though. I gotta read that one. I love Eric Stoward.
It's good to see these books coming out at last in paperback. I know they've been available in hardback for a while, but I was never going to buy them in that format myself. They've got to sit snugly on my shelf, JT, where they're supposed to be. But yeah, I'm really taking these, and I hope that Chris Achilleos sees it as flattery. They did get him back, Sarah. If you remember, Sarah, when they put out some 50th anniversary novels, they reissued some, with new covers by Chris. Did you see any of those?
Yeah, I think so.
I think there was Visitation. They did the Visitation.
Yeah.
Battlefield, yeah.
And then they did
some Varos.
Yeah.
Those are all Chris Achilleos covers. But these really should be. They should have got. I mean, maybe they did ask Chris. I don't know. But I agree with Barnaby. I love the design. We all love the design. But it would have been nice to see Chris back actually doing them. Do
you know what though? I mean, considering that some of us have been waiting for these three particular novels for what seems like an eternity. And Sharda is coming, I do believe, in the target range as well at some point. These were released earlier today. Yes, they're quite nice. Yes, they're very reminiscent of Chris, but I have seen better fan covers.
Yeah, I would agree with you, actually, JT. I have as well.
That's a fair comment. I suspect they're actually done by computers. A lot of
They
computers.
are. They're CGI. Yeah, you can tell by looking at these are photographs made to look like dot drawings from yesteryear, but they're not the photos. And I just don't get that. I mean, I was to say, I've seen much better fan presentations done by the old-fashioned way with a hand.
I think it's a pity to do this with. I mean, maybe because they're classic stories, but I think when they do it with new series stories, then it really is a shame because there are some great fan artists out there, and both digital and traditional, who I think would love a crack at it. You know, we've seen the covers to the completely original novels. You know, there's a lot of great artwork used on those, and I'm sure that there's lots of people out there would jump at it, even to do painted artwork. But you know, maybe because they are, I mean, people have said in the chat, we've got lots of people saying about at least they've got the correct logo on. Yeah, they're leaning into nostalgia.
Well, they haven't though. They haven't got the correct logo on. If they're going to have the correct logo on, the Pirate Planet would have the diamond logo, and that's
that is true.
And the other two would have the neon logo on. So I think they should. This to me is where they've messed up personally. You know, my feeling is if you're going to go for that design, book Chris Achilleos to do them. If you're not going to book Chris, as you say, Dan, let a new artist bring an entirely new slant to Doctor Who.
And that was the whole point, because when you look at the target novels, they did evolve.
Yes,
and they changed.
Not all like Chris Achilleos.
No, of course they're not. No, and they changed continually, and they used a lot of artists who were using, you know, art when it came to actual physical drawing and painting, and the work we know is brilliant. And to actually, I understand this sort of retro tribute style, especially for the three novels that many of us have been waiting for a long time for, and I can't wait to get them to stick them on the shelf and say, phew, I did that before I died. But you know, it's a real case of maybe they should have looked at moving it on and using some of the fan art and just doing something original, but sort of, and the fans would have understood this is a target book, so it's a certain way. They would have got that. It would have been.
And I think that not only would the fans have understood, I think they would have been energized by it and inspired by it. One of the artists that I would like to work on this range, funnily enough, is Oliver Arkenstall Jones. And this is latest. This is his latest.
Look at that!
Oh wow!
This is his latest piece.
Rated R, mate. Rated R.
For those of you out there who haven't seen Oliver's work, for about the last 2 years, he's been creating these sort of retro horror style posters for old Doctor Who stories from all eras, specifically the classic series. I don't think I've seen any new series stuff from him, but it's things like Robots of Death, things like the Dalek Invasion of Earth, things like Day of the Daleks and Pyramids of Mars, all that sort of stuff. And this one in particular, this is very Camp Crystal Lake, isn't it, Ian?
Yes, certainly is. I mean, I don't think the BBC would allow a poster like that for that episode.
The logo could obstruct the scythe, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Just to point out as well, if people want to look up Oliver, he does sell his posters.
Yeah, he does.
I've got a couple of them here, but you know, it's there's a lot of them. Just put it that way. I mean, one of my favorites is Pyramids of Mars. The Pyramids of Mars
is stunning. And what I love about them is he does them in the style of what would have been at the time. So you're right, Dan. This is very much, it's an 80s story, and this is very much a Friday the 13th style poster, an exploitation poster. And it works beautifully. So yeah, why not stick those on the front covers of the target books instead?
And
the great thing is, Dan, a couple of shows back in Series 1, you showed the cover, a VHS cover for the next Doctor. That was Oliver.
That was him too. Yeah, I like the fact that, like an artist like Colin Howard, for example, or our friend Pete Warbank, these other fantastic artists. They look at photos, but they're not a slave to photos. It never looks like a photo has been processed and slapped into the middle of a composition. You can see this is properly painted, that artistic license and a certain romance has been employed to realise this sort of illustration. It's an illustration.
Yeah. Well, imagine a whole new range of, not necessarily Target, because when you have a Target book, it does have to follow a certain character, but a whole new range of books with that cover, for example. For something like that. I mean, how exciting!
Looks like he's got a stomachache for some reason, doesn't he?
Well, he's standing next
they
to
all
Tegan.
do, in all honesty, they all do.
He's standing next to Tegan Javanka, so of course he's got stomachache. He's probably having a headache.
Tegan,
I like Tegan.
Yeah, Tegan's got her hands sort of crossed as if she's trying to get to the toilet. It's not. Yeah, I can't. Oliver, I'm sorry. It started so well, mate. We can't. I don't know where this has gone. It's thanks. It's a beautiful painting. I absolutely love it.
It's lovely.
It's a great picture. Great
Really,
picture.
really
Yeah.
Great tone.
We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to find room to put them.
His version of Earthshock is stunning as well because he's done that all in again 80s sort of neon, like a kind of Tron sort of poster. That's beautiful as well. It's magnificent.
I've got to find this.
What's that?
I'm going to find one of those actually.
You're going to.
You'll be sport. Anybody like you, Bonnie, you'll be sport for choice because they are just beautiful. They're gorgeous things. You actually get them through as well. They're lovely.
The problem is now, if you buy a poster these days, you can't just stick it up on the wall with blue tack anymore. You've got to find a frame. You've got to find the right frame. You've got to find the right position in your house. It's crazy. In the old days, I remember I used to have a Lindsay Wagner poster. Remember Lindsay Wagner from Bionic Woman? I stuck it with blue tack,
Or pins. True. That's what we did.
I haven't bought a calendar at all this year. I don't know why.
Two behind me, as you can see.
Which one have you got?
I got one that my friend.
Jodie Whittaker.
No, they're not Doctor Who calendars at all. Over there? Yeah. No. But
I usually buy the Doctor Who calendar until the last couple of years. I haven't even bought the one with the classic Doctors on.
Well,
I'm just not inspired by them anymore.
No, well, I'll just mention here now because we've actually, Dan and I have chatted about this. I was so disappointed that Danilo over the last couple of years seemed to have changed the calendar outlook, because while we went through Doctors right up until 2017 with Capaldi, there were two versions available from Danilo. You were allowed to get or you could buy, and I would buy both. You had classic Doctors, which was Doctors 1 through till 10.
Yeah.
And then you had one which was about Capaldi in that year's series. Do you remember? So this is only a few years ago. When Whittaker came on board and Chibnall came on board, that changed. And suddenly the classic Doctor one changed to include her in it. And then there was one all about her series as well. Now, I was so disappointed about this. I emailed them last year and said, what are you playing at, basically?
You emailed them?
I did.
Did they get back to you?
Yes, they did, Dan. I mean, I got in touch with them saying, listen, I know you won't understand this, but I'd just like to, friendly a bit of advice for you here. The Doctor Who community is split, and you're missing out on money because you're getting people like me who will not buy the classic version of the calendar because you've got that particular character in it, and millions of us do not accept her. And I gave them, I was very constructive, and I said, this is it. You're better doing this. And I gave them an alternative of saying, do a past one and do the current one. And they got back to me, and they said that they were following the BBC guidelines and doing what the BBC told them, and that she had to be in. So it showed as well. I mean, again, we've had this sort of discussion, but it did show there was part of the marketing team was, no, we've changed the whole outlook. She is in with those, whether you like it or not.
But that explains why the Jodie logo is everywhere as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd like to thank Danilo Calendars for taking the time to be honest and to respond to my query as a customer, because I haven't bought anything of those since, and actually telling us the truth on that, because that's what I suspected as a merchandise geek all this time. And we touched on it in the previous series of these shows. And it turns out, yes, the BBC Studios marketing team did say, no, she has to be in that one as well. That logo has to be there. It's proven now. We've got that information. So thank you to Danilo for being very, very honest.
I spoke to somebody about making a calendar a little while ago, and it's this guy. It's Clayton Hickman, who produces so many beautifully colorized, Simon, black and white Doctor Who images. This is his latest one.
Yeah,
all through December, he put out a colorization advent calendar through Twitter. 25 beautiful images of it. I hate to think how long they must have taken him.
No,
maybe he's very quick at it now. I don't know, but beautiful stuff.
Let's get him on the show and ask him, because I'd love to know how many hours do you put into these.
There is a program.
Well, there's a
program that you can do it with. There's a program. It's a computer program you can do it with.
I don't know anything about that. All that stuff goes over my head, so I'd love to learn about it.
Well, I have reached out to Clayton, so it's not impossible. I know it's a very busy man. But what I said to him was, if you don't turn these into a calendar, people are going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he get old BBC Studios knocking on the door then, saying, "Oi, come on, give us some dosh, or not a licensing, like, oh yeah." Probably,
but I thought this one. I've always loved this picture from Pair of the Daleks. Anyway, we know there are precious few pictures from this in existence, but this one was so clear, and with the Doctor there, with his two companions, Ben and Polly, and the Daleks themselves. I've always loved it, and so to see it in colour,
and what a lovely, lovely denim ensemble Ben is wearing there. I think it's marvelous. Marvelous.
I just love I love the composition of that shot. I mean, it's very un-60s. It's very unusual to see that degree of creativity put into the composition of that, of having two Daleks at completely different focal lengths. So the one in the foreground is actually out of focus. That's a really unusual composition, very adventurous for the 60s. It's great.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, beautiful. I mean, imagine seeing that in those old-fashioned Radio Times back at that point in '66. You know, that would have been wow.
Really, Rich says it's a hell of a lot of masking. Yeah.
What does he mean? What does that mean, Rich?
When you photoshopping and stuff, yeah.
In creative suite.
I'm surrounded by techies.
Yeah. Another picture I wanted to show everybody. I think this is because this is a friend of Type 40, somebody who's been on the show a couple of times. This is the work of Jaspreet Singh. Now, he's gone back to this. He's gone back to this photo, which appeared on the front of the Doctor Who holiday special from
TV Comic. And you know, you've just upset me because I had that and I've lost it.
It's a good picture.
And that was the cover. That was the cover of the summer special, the holiday special. Take it off. I can't look at it.
Apparently, the photograph itself no longer exists. They haven't got the negatives anywhere, so they've got no source for it at all. And the only thing that anybody's got are old copies of the magazine, which have been scanned in, or whatever else. Sorry, JT.
Yeah.
So Jaspreet Singh, he's been on Type 40 a couple of times. Hi, Jaspreet. He's painstakingly done this. You know, giving it a real look. Yeah, I think he's done a beautiful job of this. And
the colours are perfectly so, and the cake.
Yeah, Jesus. And do you know, Sarah, as well, it sums up Doctor Who of that time, doesn't it? There's the three characters there that were taking it through. Okay, the Brig's missing, good old Nick, but it's still, it equates something about merchandise at that time to me, and I'm heartbroken that he mislaid that bloody comic.
Garbage says, I didn't know what masking was either, JT.
No. I've got plenty of garbage. I've got a Cyberman mask. I've got a Dalek mask. I've got
Very funny, JT.
Yeah, well, that's what you pay me for.
Your check's in the post, mate.
And it wouldn't be an edition. It wouldn't be an edition of Type 40 Live, would it? Without us drooling a little over the work of the Prydonian. Here's this. Latest Daleks from the Prydonian here. So I think these are similar to the versions that we had a couple of shows ago. We were all drooling at these, the little details, the way he's managed to sensitively update the classic design, mixed it with the new, and move it on a little bit. He pushes this stuff out so regularly, and everyone is just beautiful, really.
They're Daleks.
Well, these are
I was saying, no, they're Daleks. They've got the size.
It's like a Doctor Who and Star Wars have kind of like come together. A Darth Vader. Isn't that no? I think it is, because the writing below the eye stalk is Imperial or whatever it is.
Well, these are his versions of Imperial Daleks from Remembrance.
But I think Barnaby's actually spot on, because I'm now realising that you've got Vader in the middle with the hoodie around the back, and then the Stormtroopers on the side, because of course the Stormtroopers are white and black, and that's why he's gone for the black accents on the two. That's brilliant. Yeah, I hadn't spotted that part.
Very nice.
You're right.
He's a huge Dalek follower. He's a very clever man there, you know, and it's just wonderful. I mean, he's very creative, isn't he?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It looks very real. You know, it's really good.
I think we can't keep sort of lathering all this praise on his work without inviting him on. So I'm going to reach out to him, invite him onto the show at some point, because he's even managed. I think he saw the recent Revolution of the Daleks special that was on New Year's Day, and he managed to do this quick revamp of those Daleks that were in that.
Now I've got some of them with bubble bathing.
I mean, don't like this at all.
It's nice, but I don't like that design. I think that design is basically an insult to the Daleks, the real Daleks, so to speak. I've never liked that design.
I agree. It's rubbish. Let's be honest, it's rubbish.
I think it's a bit Dusty Bin.
Tell it how it is.
I think what they tried out.
Dusty Bin. We love Dusty. Bring back Dusty Bin. Let's start the campaign right now. Here, hang on, I'll get a notepad.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
I think the Prydonian here has taken them in a slightly Wallace and Gromit direction there, with lots of rivets and grills and things. What do you think? The grivets.
Why would you change the Daleks? It didn't work when Moffat changed them. And it doesn't even work now. Do you know what I mean?
To that one. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? But I can see where the cheese would go there for Wallace and Gromit, yeah.
Wensleydale.
Cheese, Gromit.
Bang together in a workshop.
JT to be Wallace.
Yes.
Now let's have a conversation. Who do you see yourself more as, Wallace or Gromit? Pop it on a postcode. Let it know.
Let us know in the comments section which of us are the Wallaces and which of us are the Gromits.
I'm Shaun the Sheep, definitely.
We won't.
I love Shaun the Sheep. Yeah, Shaun the Sheep. Yeah. And then there was that rabbit. Do you remember in the Were Rabbit? There was the rabbit.
I could be the penguin. I might be the penguin.
Penguin, yeah.
Penguin.
Take pity on us. Take pity on us, everybody. We're not going to be able to sleep tonight unless we know which of those two famous characters, Wallace or Gromit, are we each more like.
And in case anyone's thinking we're going off a tangent, let's bring it back quickly. There isn't, because Bob Baker wrote it.
Yay! There we are.
This is the channel where you get this sort of crap.
And Peter Sallis, of course, plays Wallace, and of course he was originally cast in Enlightenment. So we just keep on coming back to this.
That's right. Yeah, don't mess with us. We are geeks.
We know what we're talking about.
Having so much fun. I forgot to put the little live icon on in the corner. Yes, we do have one more thing to talk about, because we have now.
Are we live? I thought we can't edit this. Sorry, I thought I didn't realize it was going out live.
Yeah, we can't edit this.
Sorry, Dan.
We've got. Yes, well, we're going to talk a little bit now, because consolidated ratings are in for that New Year's Day special. So yes, here's how it looked in the end for Revolution of the Daleks.
Beautifully presented there. It could have been a little bit more in centre, I think, for the actual figures, but well done, Dan.
Yes, this is the all channels, the top 15 shows for that week. So yeah, Doctor Who in the finish. This is the consolidated figure. Yeah. So obviously this is not the overnights. This is the consolidated figure. Now, obviously, Doctor Who has done a little better here than it did last year, but it is still the lowest rated special of any kind in Doctor Who's history. It still represents a significant drop, and this is also including as well, because these are the consolidated figures, those first 7 days. Remember that this episode was up on iPlayer as well before it was shown on BBC One. So a lot of people think this is a good result for Doctor Who, and to be fair, it is just inside the top 10 there, which you can't really argue with that.
Well, I can.
Well, there was a but coming, but yeah, this, to me, what this underlines is the fact that it is still, that New Year's Day is still, it's not Christmas Day, but it remains one of the biggest TV watching days of the year. Everybody is at home, even more so because of lockdown, and the TV is practically always on, even if it's on in the background. But more to the point, I think it also underlines the fact that they wisely led with Captain Jack, played by John Barrowman here in the advertising. So on one hand, I don't want to try and take anything away from anybody who enjoyed this, or from the fact that people probably worked very hard on this special. But I don't see this as any cause for celebration at all. I think it shows to me that people, as I'm always saying, everybody, that all you people out there, the general British public, still in their heart of hearts love Doctor Who. They want Doctor Who to be good. People want to watch Doctor Who, and they remember when it was good. And if you give them a flash of something that reminds them of why they liked it, they'll go, oh, okay, and they'll turn up and watch. But what they felt afterwards, and more to the point, if there was another episode, if another episode had come a week later on the 8th of January, would they have been there a week later? Obviously, we'll never know. I suspect the answer is in the negative. Anybody have any thoughts on those ratings while we wrap up?
Can I ask a question? How long was the Jodie Doctor in jail for?
It was like 19 years or something, wasn't it?
I just want to ask that question. Sorry, mate. I know I'm stepping on something, but if she was in there for a long time, how comes her hair didn't grow?
Well, for all we know, it did. We're going to review the episode in a few weeks' time on the Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. We're going to get round to that in due course and talk about the actual episode itself, because I haven't seen it yet. I think I know that plenty of people out there haven't seen it, and the DVD and Blu-ray is out in a couple of weeks. But purely from a ratings point of view, is this more than you thought, Simon? Are you impressed by this?
It absolutely is. It is more than I thought, because I genuinely thought pretty much everybody had jumped ship after the Timeless Children. So it is more than I thought. I have to confess, I was surprised by the results. But, of course, they've got to be taken in context, and we have got to remember that we were in lockdown. We are in lockdown. And so it was something of a captive audience. To be perfectly honest, I am just horrified that the figures across the board are as low as they are for all broadcasters, really, because of the fact we are all in lockdown. And we've all had a Christmas where we've all pretty much should have been sitting there just doing nothing but watching television. And yet the figures are still very, very low.
Yeah, I know, because there's other channels. There's Netflix, there's Amazon.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But the biggest thing about it, though, is that the broadcasters, i.e. the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, are not producing things that the public to see, so they are going to.
That's exactly it, JT. So this is my point: is the fact that the ratings for the main state channels should be higher than that, simply because they shouldn't all be deserting to Amazon and Netflix, and they're clearly not producing stuff that people want to watch. But the fact still remains that the figure for Revolution of the Daleks is higher than I expected. Let's be honest again, some of that undoubtedly is because of Captain Jack. There's no two ways about that at all. So it would be very interesting to see how the episode would have fared. A, had Captain Jack not been in it, and B, had we not been in lockdown. Well, that would have been the figure that would have been interesting.
What about well, can I come in there? Let's have a heated debate here, viewers. Come on.
No.
I mean, let's look at the ratings here. The overnights are always banged on about in Doctor Who fans now as not being important. I would always come back to somebody and say, yes, they are, because it shows how many bums and seats you got on the night that you've invested in the show and produced it. Now, the overnights were 4.69 million. 4.69. Now, that's the figure I'd rather go with. And do you know why? Because, as Dan said, this thing was dropped on iPlayer before screening. And as Doctor Who fans, we have always gone back and watched the episode. In our day, we would do it via a VHS recording, which was never taken into account when ratings are, because the technology wasn't there, and quite frankly, nobody thought of it. But now, Doctor Who fans, immediately the thing is finished live, will go back and watch it. Now, each time a Doctor Who fan watches the iPlayer broadcast, it's a figure. Now, that's why it's pushed up to the 6, because a lot of us have gone back. Nobody can prove that that's the great British public watching that show. And when you go and look at what's happened just before the announcement or the leaks that she's going, everybody was going on. I mean, I've seen in the last week various Doctor Who fans going, "Oh, that's," I say fans. That's a great result, 6 million, but I've watched it 15 times. Oh, I've watched it 10. Oh, I've watched it 12. That's the reason.
Sarah.
Also, don't forget BBC iPlayer will also count. Is it 2 minutes as a view?
Yeah, which is disgraceful. I mean,
Is it
that
true? I thought
doesn't work.
Yeah.
I thought it was something like between 7 and 10.
No,
Yeah, it was. It changed a year or so ago, about 18 months
They
ago.
knew Doctor Who was
let's
going to
ask
fail.
the
That's why they
question.
changed it.
Let's ask the question: why are they changing those statistical information? It's to
Well,
make
they can
themselves look
cheat.
good in a market which is dying.
That's so they can cheat, of
I want
course.
to ask Barnaby, did you watch this on New Year's Day, Barnaby?
I did, and
You scum! You rebel scum!
it was good because I'd already had quite a few drinks by then, so I was like, oh, just sit down and watch. Why not a coffee that bad?
and
I would.
you can't leave it there.
We're gonna pull you. We're gonna drag you onto the podcast to talk about. I think
I would definitely be up for a rant. I'd love to go onto the podcast.
Brilliant.
Is the only
bring it
Barnaby
out.
who watched it on the panel? Did you watch it?
I've never watched it, but I will watch it when Dan wants me to watch it.
Do I dare Barnaby? Okay, if you're not going to give a review for holding on to that, do we dare at least get a mark out of 10, for example?
Yeah, he was pretty drunk. He can't remember it.
So, why are there two Jodies on the stream? I would give it a 4. Personally.
Okay.
Oh, you're being generous, apparently.
Very mostly for John Barrowman.
Do you know what gets me about this?
I was wondering. Hold on a sec. I was just wondering if you'd decided, if you'd made a point of watching it. Were you to give it a day in court, or was it just the fact that it was on?
I didn't want to go and watch it, but my housemate really wanted to watch it just because he wanted to catch up. So then, all right, so it's on. I'll sit down and watch it. And we both sort of take the piss out of it as it goes on, and that's quite fun. So it's sort of like a mystery science theatre while we're watching it. We just sort of like start talking. Like, Tosin, act more, Tosin.
I think I think that's sad. Because if Barnaby's doing that, how many other Doctor Who fans are doing it?
I think it's through the general public too, JT. I think the general public feel the same way. I don't think the general public
aren't watching. Nobody can prove the general public are watching.
I think a percentage of them more watch on a public holiday because a similar thing to can't be asked turning the telly over, or they're waiting for whatever's on afterwards. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is on after this nonsense. It's not worth changing over. Just pass us another pint.
Well, can you bring up the consolidated ratings again for that day, Dan? Can you bring that slide back up, please?
Yes, of course.
Let's have a look at this. So let's go into this a bit more and put a few more arguments in, because a lot of people are saying that look how many people tuned in for Happy New Year Live on BBC.
They were locked in though. You're gonna watch it anyway.
But look at how many people looked at that and said, "Yeah, we'll watch that," because they're locked in, because there was nothing else on. Now that says an awful lot to me, because look at that. The BBC News at 6 comes in second. Doctor Who was beat by Corrie, The Masked Singer, the BBC News again, A Perfect Planet. I mean, these consolidated, you can't really go on these sort of things because
they'll see it as a success.
But again, I would call them hypocritical. Thanks, Dan. Because what happens now, of course, is that the woman who what was Jodie Whittaker's first one?
Fell to Earth.
Yeah.
Fell to Earth. Right. Well, that was celebrated the day after, wasn't it? And then everybody came out saying, "Oh, it's a great success."
Not from me.
Success. And that was an overnight figure. It's always celebrated when it suits them. It's never celebrated the truth. So
but you know what, right? JT feels the need to justify this. I don't give a crap. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't care less how much it made. I'm just not going to be watching it.
The fact still remains, you go back to something like, as we said previously before Christmas, you go back to Voyage of the Damned, which got how many? So it's still half. It's still half the figure. And so it's clearly not doing as well as the David Tennant era.
What about Malcolm and Wise? 23 million, mate.
It's still continuing the downward trend, isn't it? Because when I saw the consolidated with everything I've just said, bearing in mind, and then went back to the 4.6 it got on the overnight, I thought, well, that's the market there. You've only got 4 million people watching this version of the show. And
I remember Capaldi with getting 9 and 8 million.
Yeah,
and people were saying, Capaldi's rubbish, he's got to go, the show's going down.
Yeah, you're right, Sarah.
The only reason why it was going down was because of all that stupid feminine agenda. That's why it was going down. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Peter. Peter was brilliant as the Doctor. Let's face it.
Yeah, we're all agreed on
Stupid
that.
stories and stupid agendas sticking in it. That's why people were jumping ship, because this was not their Doctor. This was not Doctor Who. And then they introduced Jodie, and it got worse. And that's that.
The BBC have been mismanaging it for a while, and as broadcasting changes, as the landscape of TV changes, as the way that we pick and choose, that word, Simon, choice. People who tell us that we should absolutely support the license fee, they keep telling me that choice isn't important, don't they? But I think choice is the key word going forward, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I've been having online arguments with people over Christmas and New Year about this, and there are certain people out there who picked me up very, very vociferously, certain Doctor Who alumni who picked me up quite vociferously over this one. And all I'm saying through all of this is, I feel that we should all be given the choice as to whether we want to sign up to the BBC or whether we don't. And to be perfectly honest, if I was given the choice, I don't doubt that my household would sign up to the BBC. We would subscribe. But it's the fact that we're given no choice whatsoever in that.
Absolutely.
That's all I want is choice. And I probably will choose and decide to join the BBC. But please, give me the choice. Treat me with some respect, that I've got the brains to work out whether I want it or not.
Yeah. And that's a growing movement. That's a growing movement, Simon, in Britain, as you know. It's not about anything else apart from the fact we would like the choice. We have the choice with Sky, we have the choice with Netflix, we have the choice with
everything. All it comes down to.
Prime. It's about the choice, and for years the BBC have had that monopoly. I'm sure
it will change. It will change.
Yeah, I've been pulled up a few times. I've been pulled up a few times by people who see me posting negative things about the BBC on social media and say, "Oh, they turned Doctor Who into a woman, and now you hate the BBC."
Yeah,
I don't hate the BBC, but I've chosen. As a customer, I'm out. I don't want to be a customer of theirs anymore. I've started to resent the BBC for their attitude after the fact, for the way that I'm still being hounded by the people from TV License and by Capita, who are the BBC under another name. That my resentment is coming after the fact. I'm going to watch that story unfold as well. And
but if the truth be known, I want the BBC to survive, but not in its current state. I believe in the BBC.
I'd love to be like Simon. I'd love to look in the newspaper or the Radio Times or on some program guide and think, wow, BBC One is now a channel that could really benefit me. I want to be watching that stuff in prime time on the evening. I would find that entertaining, and there's a good broad selection of content there. Yeah, I will pay my 15 quid a month or whatever I'm in. I would love to be able to do that again, because I do believe in having a BBC, but the choice is absolutely essential.
And when you look at what the BBC's program output now is, why are you paying for it? That's why I don't pay for it. The license, because I look at I don't watch anything the BBC are offering.
Neither do I.
And I certainly don't follow their news, because the news from somebody that is Scottish and lives in Scotland is always about bloody London. I don't want to know. Sorry, but it's shocking. You don't even know Scotland exists. And the bias that has come out over the last few years. I mean, like it or not, Brexit has happened. I have friends that voted for Brexit, and then you get people on the BBC slagging my friends off, calling them hypocrites or whatever they wanted to. No, actually, they're not. Actually, they're intelligent people that were given a democratic vote.
Do you know the only news we get from Scotland these days is it's snowing and it's cold? That's the only news we get about Scotland.
No, come on, be fair. They roll Jimmy Cranky out, and she says a few things.
Like what?
Get Jimmy on when she's talking about COVID.
Let's steer it back into something. Let's look at something pretty for a moment. Let's look at a nice image.
I'm here. Just look at me.
How did that happen? Oh no, I didn't mean that one. I meant this one. I came across this image on Twitter a few days ago, and Barnaby, I just thought this was delightful.
Is that from Ian?
Gorgeous.
Is that from Ian?
Unfortunately, I can't remember whose picture this was. So if you're out there, if this is your picture, or if you know where I nicked this from, please get in touch and let me know, because I want to credit them. I think it's so beautifully done with the Imperial Daleks and the Spectral Weapons Dalek and McCoy's Doctors with his hat off as well there, Barnaby. You see that with his hat off? Yeah,
that's the only figure you can really get now. The one without the hat that comes with Cybermen. Yeah,
they should bring back Ace.
They should bring back Ace.
Bring her back.
Sophie Aldred, brilliant actress.
Yeah, you don't like Ace, JT?
No. I do like Ace, and I love Sophie. She loved me back when she met me.
Name dropper.
But I'm not into all this. Let's bring things back.
No, just as a guest star.
Not at the current time. No,
not the current time. No,
it endorses the current crap.
No, not that. When they've changed the Doctor and stuff, it'd be nice to have a little.
I think that should be a disclaimer that every time we speculate on the future of Doctor Who, people out there should accept that when we put these things out there, we mean when the current regime is going to anything we express enthusiasm over, it is on the express proviso that you, Chris, are on, my friend. P45 time only. All of this. I would love to see Sophie Aldred back on the show. I'd love to see her play the character again. I think Pete McTighe, the way he made that little trailer for the season 26 box set, was absolutely perfect. Pete, please be showrunner, Pete, please. So I would love a whole series like that. I'd love a spin-off with Ace. But for the time being, I'm quite looking forward to this audio that she's going to do with David Tennant next year. I think that could be a lot of fun. But the character holds a lot of nostalgia value for me. I was obviously a little bit older when she was in it, but when I saw this shot and the Daleks all lined up like that, at first I had to give it a second look, because there's some very clever people out there with figures and with model making who can make things at first pass look like it's a photograph that you've never seen before of people in live action or whatever. I just thought it was beautifully done and ideal way to wrap up Type 40 Live this time, I thought.
Is he too tall, that model for...
He's about right.
He's very accurate. Yeah.
No, Sylvester's genuinely only that big.
There he goes.
Very tiny man. Very tiny man. Lots of people, yes, lots of love for Ace in the chat. And a lot of thoughts. Sophie would be fun. Yes, I think she's
a very good ambassador for the show. She really is.
Yeah, Sophie is lovely.
Did you see that trailer when she was a lot older, and then she sees the Doctor's shadow in her office?
Yeah.
Really. I thought it was an episode. I was like, "What? She's back!" And it was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah,
it was too tasteful, too subtle to be an actual.
I would, if she came back into the current regime with a baseball bat, I might just be forced to watch that.
And she hits Jodie. Yeah, I'll be into that.
Thank you, everybody who's been watching us in the chat. Yes, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Type 40 Live and Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast. More Doctor Who talk coming your way when we can scramble these people together and see. Oh, JT's got his scarf. Go on. It's been several weeks, JT. Now, you threw this scarf around a few weeks ago and you challenged us to work out.
And none of us knew.
To work out, yes, where this scarf came from. Yeah. I can't work it out. I know it's familiar, but I can't work it out. So please put me and everybody else out of our miseries.
Yeah, I've enjoyed Spacebookers winding Dan up over the last few weeks about this to say where did this actually come from, and I can now actually tell you this unique piece of merchandise.
Oh God!
Back in the day, you could also knit that lovely V-neck sweatshirt. It was based on Tom's Doctor. Can you see that? There you go. Yeah. Look at that.
Wow, that's special. That's special.
There you go. Look at that.
I have seen that before, but I would have been guessing for a very long time. Absolutely wonderful, JT. Well played, sir.
Can you knit the Dalek as well, or not?
Yeah, well,
people are never satisfied, are they?
If 5p on it.
Before you go, right, I'd like to ask people out there, if you're the person that sent me this cap, thank you very much, because I have no idea who sent me this bloody cap.
Over to you, Ian. Yes, this is your beautiful new NASA
hat. Somebody sent this to me, and I don't know who sent it to me.
In that lovely shade of salmon.
I know. I know, but thank you, whoever sent it to me.
That's going to look fabulous, though, if we get a summer. Let's all keep
our fingers crossed. We all want one, please.
I have no idea.
Favoritism or what?
And if you've enjoyed this live stream and you'd like some more, sadly, you're not going to get any more for another 7 days. But it could be your first episode, in which case your luck could well be in if you've missed any of these. This was our first season of Doctor Who live streams here on the Spacebook channel, where for 10, well, it's about 20, maybe even 30 hours, we rambled on much the same about Doctor Who, the way we have now, but with lots of guests. We were speaking to various people from across, not just YouTube, people like Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic, but people like Bob Baker, the legendary Doctor Who writer. Bob Baker, he was in talking about K9 and showing us his new book that's just come out. We've also grabbed lots of other people that we know, people out of the comment section, to come in and have a chat, and I'm sure that'll be the case as well for season 2. So if you'd like to get involved, if you'd like to call in to Type 40 Live, or if you'd like to come and tell us about something that's got your dander up, or that's got you, or the reverse that you're really, really happy about, come and tell us your good Doctor Who news too. We had Alex Storr in, didn't we, from Blackpool Remembered not that long ago, to talk about his prints. So if you've got something you want to pimp, come and do that here. That's not a word.
Within reason.
Yes, watch it. And yes, that does cover it for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. What else is coming up on the channel? Yes, more Blake 7. 4 episodes of Teleporter, Blake 7 podcast, currently up on this channel. If you like a bit of Blake 7, you like that retro sci-fi, there's my interviews with various people from across Blake 7 fandom, one dropping every month, both on the podcatchers and here on the Spacebooks YouTube channel. Would anybody like to plug anything? Ian, what's dropped on the Rebecca Gold channel recently?
Nothing much really, mate. Just the Rebecca Gold web series and a couple of movies on there. You know, knock yourselves out. Just go down there to the Rebecca Gold channel on YouTube, and lots of stuff to watch. Yeah, see, look, he said it. That's good stuff, mate. It's good stuff.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us again. Thanks for joining us again, Barnaby. It's been good to have you here. We'd love to
thank you for having me. It's been fantastic.
On the podcast soon, that'd be really fun.
I want that giraffe.
I think we should just give a whole show over to Barnaby at somebody. You can just do impressions of the Doctor.
That's right. That's
hours.
right.
The entire thing, like, oh my giddy god. Yeah.
Wait, when did I last hear somebody say I want that giraffe? Never. Intriguing.
Sarah, when are you going to turn up online over the week? Have you got any more live streams planned?
Not this week, but at the weekend I'm on Doctor Who chat because it's the 1 year anniversary.
Happy birthday, Neil. Happy birthday, Yvette.
Doctor Who chat, what's that on then? What channel's that on? Is that Blue's channel?
That's here on YouTube. It's called Doctor Who chat.
Yeah, it's Neil of
Neil.
Neil Perkins.
Yeah. And next week I am on Blue Bonnet Hoovin's channel. We are doing part 3 of our Bob Holmes appreciation stream.
I thought you were going to say Bob Holness then.
There's a name.
I'll have a pee, please, Bob.
There's a name.
So we are up to, it's going to be fantastic. So we're doing Talons, the Sunmakers, the Rebus operation, and what's that? Power of Kroll. So we'll look at them.
Good luck on that one.
Great stream, good guests, fine wine, and Belgian chocolates made for a truly Swiss Tony experience. We're delighted to please. Vanessa would love to hear Barnaby's Doctor voice. Maybe next time. Who knows? Keep waiting for the good stuff, Barnaby. JT, thanks as ever for your company, my friend.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. It was very lovely for you to have me.
And Simon. People are going to hear more of us later in the week, aren't they? On Type 40 Doctor Who podcast.
God help
Devils.
God help him.
Look at Chris.
Get out now while you still can.
It's going to be
I'm looking
wonderful.
forward to the Chris Achilleos one. Please put a couple of hours.
The Chris Achilleos one is fantastic. He's a star. He's a
gent. It'll be tremendous. It will. So look out for that. And also hit us with who are you? We'd like to know in the comments section, which Doctor do you see yourself as? Or which Doctor are you more like? Which Doctor do other people say you are like too? Let us know. We'll maybe do another show. We've got other things planned. I won't spoil that for now. But yes, get in touch, drop us a comment, and share the show if you've enjoyed it with other people you think who may enjoy it too, who may enjoy this brand of absolute abject nonsense. Let's be brutally honest. But yes, that does wrap it up for now. Yes, another reminder to please like and subscribe to the channel and enjoy the rest of your week. Meet us back here again soon for another Type 40 Live. Okay? Say bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bunch of loonies.